Hello, hello. Bones wants to join me in the video, which I'm sure no one will complain about. Say hi. Yeah, say hi, just real quick. Anyway, you're free to go. I decided to join in on the fun and participate in this year's mid-year book Freakout tag. I want to talk in depth about every single book. I'm going to try to be succinct. But I have a lot of books that I've read. I just feel excited that I've been able to read so many books, but I haven't felt like I've been forcing myself to read these books. I've had a great time. I don't think I've had any books that I've super disliked because I typically know what I want to read and I don't let myself get like invested in something I'm not super interested in the first place. But I just want to jump right into it. Anyway, first on the list for the Freakout tag is best book so far of 2021. My favorite book, and I don't have a physical copy of this, but it's honestly jumped to like my top 5 books. I read it on Kindle, so I don't have a physical copy, and I need to get a physical copy because I love it that much, was The Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wong. So good, so emotional. I don't know that I can describe it. I do have a video on it talking about what I learned, but mostly I just gushed. I don't even remember what I said I learned. Okay, I kind of do, but like, loved it so much. It's a Japanese-based fantasy story with, incredible fight scenes. And I get really distracted in fight scenes, so I think that's part of what earned me its love. Very emotional, like explores grief. The story structure is interesting and different, and I really like it, and it made me cry, so highly recommend. The other two, I'll just say real quick. Kindred by Octavia Butler, loved that. Now I love her and want to read more of her stuff. And Six of Crows, just so much fun. I like YA more than I realize, I think, and I just don't need to be a snob about it. I really like YA, and I really love the Six of Crows characters. Anyway, for number 2, for the Freakout tag is best sequel of 2021 that you've read. I've been reading the series of Unfortunate Events books, and I really I just love these, and now I'm slowly building my collection. I love this series. I think 6 is probably my favorite one so far. It was just goofy enough, but like there was some mystery being revealed. But I do have to mention I am reading Crooked Kingdom, sequel to Six of Crows, and I know it's gonna make me cry. No spoilers please. I know it's gonna be a favorite, but I'm gonna hate it also. And I also read Monsters of Men, which is the 3rd book in the Chaos Walking series. I haven't watched the movie. I don't know that I want to. I love that series, highly recommend it, and I will probably talk about it at some point because I love it so much. But yeah, Monsters of Men really sealed the deal for me. The world building was insanely just kind of beautiful actually, so that's why I liked it. It's a really good sequel. Moving on. New releases of 2021 that I want to read that I haven't yet. I know I've heard so much talk about Amari and the Night Brothers, and I want to just get right into that. Like, I want to read that book. It sounds so beautiful and awesome. It's on my list, and I'm going to read it this year. It's my goal, and I've heard it's a wonderful story, so I better jump on to that because it's in my sight. For anticipated releases of 2021 that are coming out that I want to read, I honestly don't know. I'm jumping into this. I'm rediscovering a love of books, and I don't have a lot of awareness of what's coming out unless it's a favorite author I already loved. But now I'm just like discovering books that are already out, even if it's just been in the last year or 2 or 3. Because like I feel like I'm playing catch up a little bit. But I was just looking at a list, and there's so many series I want to get into, and I think I have a goal for this one. Since I don't have a specific anticipated release, I want to look on indie publishing lists and see what's coming out and try something out from there because I want to support that, and I think it's really cool. And I think you can discover your favorite books from indie publishing. Moving on from anticipated releases into biggest disappointments. I don't have, honestly, I wasn't super disappointed by anything. When I read Shadow and Bone after watching the show, I knew I wasn't going to be as hyped about it. It was still good, still better than people made me think it was, or people talked about it being. But my biggest disappointment, I think, something that I wanted to like more than I did for sure, was Red Rising. Good. I know it's gonna be even better if I continue the series. I didn't love his writing, and I didn't quite know where things were going, and it didn't feel enough like I was on Mars, if that makes sense. Like, the imagery felt like Earth too much to me, even though it was on Mars. But I will read the next two in the series, for sure. Biggest surprise of 2021. I loved Warbreaker. I read that this year, right? I think so. If I read it this year, then I loved Warbreaker way more than I realized I would. I just loved the characters and the surprises and the dynamics. That was the fun part for me, to be honest. So I'd say Warbreaker was my biggest surprise, and I'll probably return back to it if I feel like reading casual Sanderson, not like deep diving. My favorite new author, either like debut or just new for me, for sure Octavia Butler. Author of Kindred, definitely on my list, new favorites. I love the type of like speculative fiction where she presents this very simple, this is what's happening. You don't ever find out why or what's causing it or anything like that. It's just, let's make this character survive in this new environment that's, well, I guess, old environment that she's not accustomed to. Wonderful. I know, I've heard she writes wonderful female characters, and I know just proof of just her main character here. And I fully plan to read more of her stuff. Like I have a list, and it'll probably be on my next order of books that I get. More Octavia Butler. She is, her stuff is a genius. I like it a lot. Number 8, new fictional crush. I have a few, probably. Shadow and Bone, the Netflix show, did not help me with this at all. I love Kaz Brekker. I love Jesper. I actually really love Matthias, like so much. He's so cute. It's kind of dangerous. And here's the thing, I don't love the Darkling. If you know Shadow and Bone, I don't love him. In the show, I love Ben Barnes, so I'm inclined to like him more, if that makes sense. Plus, I think he's a teensy bit more likable in the TV show than in the books. In the books, he just creeps me out. Despite the fact that Ben Barnes is handsome, doesn't make me, I'm not crushing, because I wouldn't want to be with him. Not to say I would want to be with Kaz Brekker, because I don't know how that would go down. He's kind of a bad dude. Jesper is just misguided, and Matthias is a little stubborn. And I like those things. I think also, speaking of Warbreaker that I mentioned previously, Lightsong sounds like such a handsome, wonderful person, and finding out about his character in more depth, no spoilers here, made me really like him. So those are my crushes. Yeah, most of the Crows boys from Six of Crows. Like, if I had read Six of Crows when I was in high school, I would have died, man. I would have died. Related to fictional crush, new favorite character. Back to Kindred, always and forever. So Dana is the main character in this book. She is strong, intelligent, and fierce, and she's put in a very frightening situation. It was just so easy to read her. I was like, oh, she's a whole real person. I'm not like missing out on anything because she's being written poorly, largely because she was written by a woman, and a woman who knows her stuff. Dana was awesome, wonderful main character, and she makes wonderful main characters. I'd say again, Lightsong in Warbreaker, very interesting, very fun. I like his sense of humor and his depth. Can't get too specific, but yeah. Next, the book that made me cry. We all know, Sword of Kaigan made me cry. I've been reading Felon, collection of poems written by Reginald Dwayne Betts. The poems are described as fierce and agile. Yes, agreed. He discusses incarceration, underemployment, love, drug abuse, domestic violence, fatherhood, and grace. That's what's written on the back. It's all, life stuff, things he's experienced. His love of poetry is so deep here, but he doesn't just let it be lovely the whole time. I think his redacted poems are some of the the hardest to read. They're like this kind of style, super cool. And it's just a very bright light being shed on the racist and classist incarceration system that we have. It's a bunch of bullcrap. Anyway, didn't make me cry, but very strong feelings about it. I didn't really think crying was the appropriate reaction, but a very strong reaction, and made me think, which is good. Thinking is sometimes more painful than crying anyway. And a book that made me happy. Like I've said, I've been reading Series of Unfortunate Events. It's so funny. His writing is clever in a way that, like, as an adult, I'm chuckling. I am maybe an immature adult, but still, I really enjoy it. And like, it makes me happy to be reading them, you know, even though Lemony Snicket warns you that you shouldn't be happy. I am, because he's funny. Also, Heidi made me happy. It was simple. The ending was so peaceful and warm. It made me want goat milk, cheese, and bread. Like, that's all I wanted for like a week while reading, because it was just so nice and cozy. Watching the Sound of Music kind of vibe, but without the Nazis. So, the next is the most beautiful book bought or received. Kingdom of Back. I bought this for myself. It's beautiful. If you don't know, and I should probably talk about this book in a video. Kingdom of Back is about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's sister, and Marie Lu really explores the world that they created as children, that they invented together, and makes it into a fantasy historical fiction. Really beautiful, and it didn't make me cry, but as a post-music major, ex-music major, it made me feel things for sure. And then going on, books I need to read by the end of the year. I don't super have a TBR. I'm a mood reader with some guidelines, but I've read Shadow and Bone, first book. I want to read the rest in the series and more. I do want to finish the Series of Unfortunate Events by the end of the year, probably this summer, do a whole video about it. And yeah, I don't know, I have a lot of recommendations being given to me, so I'm going to ask people what they've recommended. I had a book sent to me by a wonderful friend that I want to read, and yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the future. The last section of this mid-year book freakout tag asks favorite book to movie adaptation. Is not, or just favorite book to adaptation. Shadow and Bone, 100%. Shadow and Bone. I can't say that it's my favorite adaptation because I loved the book first, because I loved the show first. The show got me through a really rough couple of weeks in my life. Very emotional. The only thing I could do was watch the show. Shadow and Bone's so good. Highly recommend. So fun. And yeah, please, if you have any favorite books or anything you want to comment about this year, or if you're interested in any of the books I mentioned, I will leave them in the description, as well as the questions itself. If you want to make yourself a video about your favorite books or experiences with books over the course of 2021 so far. I'm looking forward to the rest of the year. I have no idea really what I'm going to read, but it's going to be fun. And thank you so much for watching. Expect more fun videos that aren't just reviews of what I learned in books, but also expect those because I have learned stuff. Anyway, peace out. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys all later.